It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
This is Carl Edwards, driver of the number 19 Aris Toyota, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. This the final Sunday in 2015. We will kick off the show with a great interview with Chris Buescher, the 2015 Xfinity Series champion. We'll talk about his transformation into a Cup Series driver and so much more. In turn number 2, we'll talk with Jody Krug about the 5th annual Nebraska Kart Shootout going on this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Lancaster Event Center. And in turn number 3, we will talk with Lonnie Jensen as a part of the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. Without further ado, here is your 2015 Xfinity Series champion, Chris Buescher, joining us on the phone. How you doing, sir?
Oh, hanging in there. How about yourself?
Oh, we are enjoying another day in the Midwest. Let's get to talking about that 2015 Xfinity Series championship for Roush Fenway. But before we get to all of that, you grew up in about around the Prosper, Texas area, right?
Yes, sir. Just north of Dallas-Fort Worth a little ways.
Okay. And how did you get exposed to racing?
I honestly didn't come from a racing family. My dad was a racing fan, but he was really a hot rod guy. So, I mean, I always grew up around cars, wheels, motors, and knew I wanted to do something along those lines. And it kind of evolved from there. I had a dirt bike when I was 6. I went over the handlebars and run over by another kid when I was 9. My mom just happened to be in the grandstands right in front of that happening, and it just
end of the motorcycle career.
yeah, she pretty much nixed that program right there.
The amount of careers that have been put to an end because mom saw son get wrecked too young.
I can only imagine how many that would tally up to.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing, really. I ended up in Bandoleros, Legends cars. Through there, I met the Reagan family, David Reagan, obviously racing in the Sprint Cup Series. And they really helped me get in the door at Roush Fenway Racing as a development driver. Ran 4 years of ARCA, 2 part-time, two full-time seasons. And then really after that, I've been on the Xfinity side.
So were you part of that famous Roush Gong show?
I was not, actually. That was so David Reagan was. So I had talked to him a little bit about it. There's actually a lot of people that were a part of that you really don't realize now have actually made it in this sport. It's pretty neat if you go back and if you can find an old picture of that show. It's hard trying to pick them out, first of all, because it was so long ago, but it's pretty cool to see all the drivers there.
Well, we've had a few drivers here from our local area out here in Nebraska, Iowa area, that have gone up and participated in the show. One of them actually ran a year of ARCA, I want to say about 2007 or 2008, finished in the top 10 in points, even missing a race. But that's where his career ended up there. He's back here running late models on the dirt.
Gotcha. That was a little bit before my time in ARCA. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard to make it. In the best way it's ever been put to me, thousands and thousands of people trying to fight for those 43 spots on Sunday.
Absolutely.
And the truth of it is only a handful can get out, and you got to keep in mind those seats are filled. So you have 2 to maybe 5 seats to fill every couple of years. It is a very, very small chance of being able to make it work. And I've been very fortunate through the years. I've worked really hard to get to this point, and I can't lie, I've been lucky along the way too. So it's been a great ride.
You said that you didn't come from a racing family. I might have my statistics wrong or my family history with you wrong. Is your cousin not James Buescher?
So James is my cousin,
okay.
Which I guess we're both in the same boat. So neither of us our parents didn't race. Both were in the home building industry. My mom was in real estate. We were fans, and both of us had dirt bikes growing up. When we started going to the racetrack, we started taking James's motorcycle with us, and we'd go goof off out in Texas. And then when we got a Bandolero, James got one just shortly thereafter, and we started traveling together there as well. So, there's not a history of racing in the family. We both started at the same time, and we've just been working up between us two. So I guess that's the only the only two of us that are in racing, stock car racing.
Did you guys ever have kind of a connection there because you both enjoyed racing, so you were at the track a lot together?
Yeah, we grew up together. Right around when I was in Prosper, they were in Plano, which was not too far away, and I lived in Plano for a short period of time before we went out to Prosper, and we grew up together. We went racing together for a little while. As you would imagine, you race together long enough, you end up with some rivalries, and we went through a couple years where we were a little tough on each other, but it's all coming full circle. I think we both matured a lot in the last 10 years, and we're just trying to make it. I know he's actually working on some things in the coming 2016 season, and I'm gonna let him tell everybody about it. I don't want to break the news.
Don't spoil
get in trouble for it.
Yeah, don't spoil his thunder.
Hey, just go ahead and give him our phone number, though. We'll take care of him out here in the Midwest.
You're ready for the announcement, right?
Yes, we are. We're always good at those. But while you were kind of starting to develop this interest in racing, whether it was the motorcycles and switching to the cars, how many times have you sat in the grandstands at TMS? Well,
it's funny. My dad actually has season tickets there, so more times than I can count. I can't tell you how many IndyCar races, truck, Xfinity Cup races that I've seen from the grandstands right over the start-finish line at Texas Motor Speedway. I remember that we were over off of Turn 4 for a long time, and he was been a season ticket holder long enough that we actually got moved to the front stretch right over the start-finish line when a couple became available. So that was pretty neat. I can't remember how many years ago that's been, but I like to mess with Brennan Gaughan. I said, man, Brennan, I remember when you were dominating those truck races at Texas. I was in the grandstands. I wasn't even old enough to drive. That just rubbed him the wrong way.
No, Brendan is the perfect guy. You got to give him all the grief you can, though.
Oh, he'll fire it right back at you.
Absolutely.
We're talking with the driver of the number 60 Roush Fenway Racing Ford in the Xfinity Series. Now going to be formally in the Xfinity Series. You made your big announcement earlier this couple of weeks ago that you're going to be making your move up to the Cup Series for your rookie season.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting news. So we're going to be going Cup racing in 2016 with Front Row Racing. There's a lot of new things involved in this. There's actually a new alliance with Front Row and Roush Fenway at the same time going on. So there will be a lot of information that we're able to compare back and forth. Just made the announcement last Wednesday, I believe. Not really by design. It got leaked out.
Did it?
I think I only knew about it about 14 or maybe 16 hours before I had requests coming in for Sirius, and Roush called me, told me, hey, just a heads up, you're getting ready to be busy. So it was not supposed to come out this early, but it's very exciting news, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had a blast in the Xfinity Series, and it's really put me in good shape to have the seat time, the knowledge, and everything I need to try and move up.
What number are you going to be running?
So right now it's the 34, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that way. It would always be nice to be able to carry on a tradition is not the right word at this point, but carry on the familiar number as you go forward, and would have loved to have been able to make the 60 work, but I don't really see that being able to happen.
Some wear T-shirts with the number change.
Yeah,
everyone's got to buy new T-shirts now.
Start right over, right? Yeah. Junior did it, right?
Yeah, Kobe Bryant too. He decided to change his number because he needed to sell more T-shirts, I guess.
And then he retired.
Yeah,
took the money and run.
Maybe I need to take notes then.
You had a pretty good 2015 in the Xfinity Series. You got your second and third career wins this year, 11 top fives and 20 top tens. It seems like consistency seems to be your story for the Xfinity Series championship.
Yeah, and that really is what made it happen. We had a great team in 2015. They worked extremely hard. They did an excellent job. We never had a DNF all season. We never got caught in a crash that prevented us from finishing the race. We did get caught up in a mess in Daytona, and they worked like you would not believe to be able to fix that thing to get it back out there for the last handful of laps. So, there's just it's a testament to our crew and how hard and how dedicated they were. And the 2 wins were awesome mid-season. I wish we could have gotten a couple more late in the going, and I think we could have. We had several races where we were really competitive, but we had to race big picture, and we had to realize that 2 spots, instead of a third going for a win and wrecking the car would ultimately hurt us a lot more than a third place finish. So that's the problem with points racing is it's a little different, and I'm not a huge fan of it, and I made that pretty clear, but in the end, it was all well worth it.
So making your move to the Cup Series, it kind of feels like what you just said there with not being a points racing fan, that this is going to be a format that's going to suit your driving style a little bit better.
I think so, for sure. I like what the Chase has done for the Cup Series and the drama and the excitement that's brought to it at the end of the season. I know there are some rumors going around about the Xfinity side adopting a somewhat similar program, and I'd be interested to see how that works. They're not going to ask me what my opinion on it is, and so I can't change it. If it were up to me, there are a handful of things that I would like to change and make it to where it would be more of my preference. But I think it's done a great job for our program.
With your moving up to Cup, are you going to drop down every once in a while and run an Xfinity race? Any plans for that?
I would love to, and we don't have the plan set yet, but talking with Roush Fenway, it is definitely on the table. There are a lot of things that are going to have to come together just right to make it happen, but I told him that I would have a great interest in running 5 to 10, 12 races on the Xfinity side. I think it would be great.
You got your second win this year at Iowa Speedway. You took the points lead that weekend in May and never let it go. What's your thoughts on Iowa Speedway, and would you ever love to go there as a Cup Series driver?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that racetrack, and I think it's one of my favorite places. Darlington's probably my favorite just because of the history and everything behind it, but I love Iowa.
Darlington is awesome.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, everybody likes Darlington, but Iowa is so neat. The way the groove has widened out there, the outside is finally starting to come in enough to where it's usable. It's really rough up there, so you'll see sparks during the night races and see us bounce and fight in the race cars. It really is just an awesome short track, and it's on the larger side of short tracks, but it still races like one, and I have so much fun there. I like the options. Being able to run 4 different lines through the middle of a corner is so much help from a driver's standpoint. You're not relying on being perfect in that one line and having to root somebody out of the way in order to make a pass. So I love going there. I don't know if the Cup Series will ever make it there or not, but I sure would love to see it happen.
A lot of the conversation this year in the Cup Series was Jeff Gordon's retirement. Later on in the year, Tony Stewart announced he's going to be retiring at the end of the 2016 season. And there kind of seems to be a little bit of a changing of the guard. And when you look at some of the drivers that you got started with in ARCA, you could see that you guys are a class of drivers that are starting to take over and be the new guard that are going to be the headlining drivers for the Cup Series. That's got to be kind of cool to be on the precipice of that, right?
Yeah, it really is. I've raced with a lot of these guys for a long time. I've been with them through Legends Cars racing, through ARCA. It's neat to see everybody getting opportunities and being able to move up into this level. I mean, it is not easy, and it's very competitive. So you like knowing the characteristics and the driving style of the guys you're going to be around, and as more and more guys start calling it quits on the driving side, I think it's going to open up a lot of options.
And there's going to be a real change in the guard, like I was just talking about. It's going to be kind of cool to see you up there with the Dillons, the Larsons, the Elliots, Jones, Blaney's, the Wallaces. I mean, there's so many talented drivers down in the Xfinity Series that are just ready to make their move up into the Cup Series. Just some of these old guys got to get out of the way.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to tell them that they need to get out of the way, but I think you will see that. Yeah, I'm not putting it that way.
Craig Biffle.
I think you're going to see there's guys that have been doing this for a long time and are ready for a little bit of change. So I think it's definitely going to change the entire series here in the next 5 to 8 years.
Just maybe some fun to have with a teammate of yours. Maybe in Greg Biffle's area, you can leave him like a bottle of Insure, maybe some retirement information, 401k plan stuff. Just kind of maybe help the process along.
Rough crowd over there.
Oh, we like to have fun.
Hey,
I'm not that brave. I'm Dan's to say that.
Dan's got a man crush on Tony Stewart, so
yeah.
And he's stepping away, so you can't do all this to him. He's already announced it.
He already knows what's coming.
So what is an off season like for a driver that just won the 2015 Xfinity Series championship, and then a week later it was announced that you're going to be making your move to the Cup Series? Is it calm, or are you just swamped with media and appearances and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's been chaos. It's not much of an off season, which is a great thing. I mean, you want to be able to be doing all this because it means you were able to accomplish something. So. We've been traveling quite a bit. I went to the Vegas Cup banquet. We just got back from an Xfinity media tour up in Philadelphia. Got to travel to the Comcast headquarters up there and take a look around what they have coming. Just been really busy. We got to take the trophy to the top of the Empire State Building, which was really cool. Just a lot of things like that, and things that you wouldn't get to experience otherwise.
What's been your favorite thing you've got to do as a part of this tour?
Besides talking to us.
Right.
So besides talking to you guys, I thought the Empire State Building was awesome. It was so cool to be that high up. We were able to take the trophy up there, like I said, and get some pictures. The only thing, the top floor, they have one a little bit taller than where we were, but it was closed for some for some renovation, I guess. We didn't get to go that high, but it was still really, really neat.
I'll bet. All right, sir. Well, we do appreciate your time. Congratulations on your 2015 Xfinity Series championship, and we'll talk to you again between now and when you win your Cup Series championship. Sound good?
There you go. Sounds like a plan to me.
Best of luck to you in that Rookie of the Year challenge. That's usually a tough deal to try and conquer that.
Absolutely. It's going to be really tough. And like we were talking about, the talent level there, it's going to be exciting.
Oh, you know what, Chris? I got one more quick question for you. I had a fan ask me this when they made the announcement that Roush had worked on a technical alliance with Front Row Motorsports and that you were going to be driving for him. Are you going to be mainly housed out of the Roush garages or the Roush shops, or are you going to be over at a separate shop at Front Row?
So we haven't gotten all the details worked out yet. Like I said, it was kind of a premature announcement. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have a good answer for you yet. It will be somewhat similar to what Wood Brothers and Penske have done. So I'd imagine there's going to be a little bit of back and forth. I know through the program we are going to be able to get some of our race cars from the Roush Fenway side for probably about half the races. Mm-hmm. But like I said, everything is still in the works and to be determined.
Well, I was going to say, Front Row, I know, has their own shop for the 34 car because it's been around for several years. It's not a brand new team, so
right, and they'll also have the 38 as well.
Well, we can look forward to trying to catch up with you, if you don't mind, in Kansas in May.
Yep.
We come down to cover the race and do a live broadcast on our show from down there, and we try and check in with some drivers and always try to introduce ourselves to the people we've interviewed.
Yeah, swing on by.
All right, we'll see you down there, buddy. Good luck to you in the 2016 season, and hopefully we'll talk to you at Kansas.
Sounds like a plan to me. We'll see y'all out there.
All right, thanks, Chris.
See ya.
We have a lot of shows still left for you to come here on the final Sunday in 2015. As turn number 2, we'll talk with Jody Krug from the 5th annual Nebraska Kart Shootout. That's coming up this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Lancaster Event Center. And then in turn number 3, we'll sit down with Lonnie Jensen as a part of the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a lot of show and a lot of great shows still to come here on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Hey guys, this is NASCAR driver Elliott Sadler, driver of the 1 Million Financial Ford Mustang, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts. Make sure you stick around. In turn number 3, the Legends of the Dirt continue. The Legends of the Dirt series continues next with Lonnie Jensen. But before we get to that, we're going to talk to a man who's putting on probably one of the biggest karting shootouts in the Metro. 5th annual Nebraska Karting Shootout. Jody Krug joining us in the studio. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. I've never got to come out to this event, so I'm going to have to kind of etch out some time during the holiday weekends to kind of come out and see what it's all about. But everybody's talked to me, said if you've never been to a karting race, this is the one you got to get to because this is the biggest one in the area.
It is. It's a great event, and we kind of sized it around the Tulsa Shootout where we used to race go-karts years ago, and they got to where they got expanded too much with the sprint cars, so they kind of edged the go-karts out. And my partners, Ralph Woodard and Butch Bade, we decided to do this, and it's been a great event.
Good. You guys are doing this at the Lancaster Event Center again?
Yes, sir.
How many years you guys been doing that? Is it the full 5 years you've been there?
Yeah, we've been there the full 5 years.
Good facility to be able to do that at?
It's one of the most beautiful facilities around.
Yeah.
They do a lot of upkeep. They just put in some new lighting, and the concession area, they just revamped it, so it's going to be a lot more user friendly for the spectators. They do a good job.
I know kind of karting is generally for kids, but will there be beer?
Yes, there will be.
Good. Then I will definitely come. Not that I need beer to come.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that also where they hold the turkey shootout and stuff now, too, in that same building?
The turkey chase, yeah. The turkey chase has been going on about 10 years. And the Kosikis do a great job with that around Thanksgiving weekend. Mm-hmm. We usually have close to double or a little more entries than what they have there.
But same facility.
Same facilities. Okay. Yep. Tracks very similar.
Now, talk to me about this. The order of events looks like practice is going to kick off this Thursday, and then is that open to the public? Can the public come out and watch the practice, or is that just for the drivers?
It's open to the public.
Okay.
Yeah, they can come watch. The practice will be 4 to 7 on Thursday, the 31st.
Okay. And then go and enjoy their New Year's, and then get up the next day for New Year's Day after they've watched the ball drop and they've kind of recovered a little bit. What time do festivities kick off on the 1st?
The heat races will start about 12 on Friday afternoon.
Okay. And then what kind of you got rookie classes, junior, amateur, junior 1 and 2, and adult 206s?
Yep.
Looks like those are the classes. What's the big difference between those classes?
Well, that's just for cage carts.
Okay. And there's a lot of classes too, right?
Yeah, the cage carts, we got a rookie class, an amateur class, and then a junior class, and then we have the adult 206 class, which is, the cage carts have come a long ways. The Kosikis really done a fine job with the cage carts. It's a cheap way to get in racing, and they can start there, they can move up to the go-karts, and then a B-mod or something like that after that.
Looks like then you've got junior amateurs, chasing racings, you got your junior mediums, junior heavies, junior clones, junior medium, just all over the place with a lot of different fields. So that am I gathering this right, kind of the difference between all these carts? Are they pretty much the same cart, it's just a weight class, kind of like in wrestling?
Some of it's the age, and some of it's the junior 1 class is like 8 to 12, 8 to 11, and then from 12 to 16 is a junior 2 class, and then the adults are 16 and up. And the unique thing about this event is we draw people from all over the states that come race, from Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota. We had somebody from California a year or two ago. We get some really talented racers that are national champions, and it's a very competitive event.
Looks like, is this the first year you're going to do the midway payout for some of these drivers? They're going to do prizes if you're leading on lap 25, and then a little bit different payout if you're leading on the end of the race?
We've done that in the past.
Okay.
A lot of times, the guy leading the race at halfway, a lot of times he's the winner.
Yeah.
But there's times when he's not. You run 25 laps, and then you're able to put some gas in, sometimes low air pressure. and then have another 25. And sometimes it's a different mix-up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But we thought it'd be kind of a neat thing for the guy that leads halfway, gets a prize.
Didn't the All-Star race for NASCAR do that a couple of years ago before they came up with this 4-segment system that they did like a $500,000 payout for the guy leading at halfway or something like that? I remember something about that.
I don't remember the All-Star race being like that, but
maybe
the shootout had something like that.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. To try to entice drivers to not just sit there and wait until the end, to kind of mix it up a little bit. So then is there a break after 25 laps, and then the drivers can kind of work on their karts, and then another 25 laps?
The karts don't come off the track.
Oh, okay.
They stay on the track, and then sometimes we let them add fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we let them change air pressure. Last year, I don't think we let them do anything.
Okay.
Because it's kind of hard to police.
Yeah. After that race is over with, the guy who leads on lap 25, and then the guy who wins the race, or the driver, I should say driver, because there's a lot of females that are a part of this too.
That's correct.
They both get teched. So that way, since whoever's leading the lap 25, they're winning a prize, they're going to get teched regardless of where they finish.
Yeah, that's correct. They got to weigh in, and their engine has to pass tech.
No cheating.
That's correct.
We don't cheat in this.
We're very strict on the rules. The karting it's we run IKF and WK rules. We tear the engines down. We want the racers to feel like they've been treated fair.
Boy, these racers, no matter what they race in, they'll find that gray zone, won't they?
They do. They do.
Hey, Dan, you're talking to one of the best at doing that.
Is that what makes you good at teching? Because you knew right where that gray zone was?
I've raced a lot in my life, and I've had to be disqualified before for things beyond my control. But everybody likes to win a race.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a great feeling, but it's a lot better feeling when you win it and you know you're legal.
It's a great feeling, I guess.
Now, are these split feature deals where you're having the 25 lap payout, that in every class, or is that just something special for the high dollar guys, or what is that?
That's we're going to do this on Saturday evening, and there's 3 of these they're called the Speedway Motor Speed Dashes. And the winner gets $1,000. The person that leads it halfway gets $500. And the winner also gets a custom leather jacket, racing jacket, that's going to have Nebraska Kart Shootout 5th annual.
Oh, that's cool.
Brought to you by Speedway Motors.
So if I lead at lap 25 and I lead at the checkered flag, do I get $1,500?
That's correct.
Ooh, nice. That's a good payout for these guys.
It's a good payout. But these races do cost a lot of money for the competitors to run. They got to buy tires, entry fees, motels. It adds up fast. So
we're still sitting here on January 1st. Is that mostly kind of qualifying for the January 2nd championship day, or are these 2 separate days?
They're 2 separate days.
Okay.
Friday we're going to race Briggs & Stratton 5 horsepower flathead.
Okay.
And we'll race those all day Friday. And then Saturday we'll bolt on a clone engine, and we run those all day Saturday, and the clone engine will also be the engine we use in the speed dashes.
Where can people get to get information? Website, phone number they can call, Facebook page?
Yep, it's www.nebraskakartshootout.com.
Okay. And then you guys have a Facebook page too, right, with all this information?
We do.
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot about the Facebook page, but anybody that does Facebook should be able to find it.
I was able to find it pretty quickly. I printed off a bunch of information. It's got everything you need, weight classes, rules, restrictions, tech information, phone numbers for you guys to get a hold of. No helmet cams. That was kind of one thing. You guys know why no helmet cams? Just out of curiosity.
We've had some in the past, and a lot of people think that, I'm being too strict. And if you look at racing, the way it's evolved, and the insurance companies, how hard they are to get insurance. And if your helmet's damaged from something like a helmet cam that was glued to it, and they flipped over it, and the insurance company could say, hey, we're not going to cover this because the helmet was modified. We don't want to take any chance of anybody's children. My boy flipped a couple of years ago and dislocated his shoulder, and it cracked his helmet.
Yeah.
So you got to have a good helmet. You got to be safe, and that's what it's about. We had one last year, or maybe the year before. The thing fell off, flew into the grandstands.
Oh, geez.
And this kid told me, he says, hey, there's nothing wrong with me running this. I said, just think if it had hit somebody in the head.
Yeah.
A little boy or a little girl or a parent. So we thought it'd be safer for everybody not to run one.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance is hard to get for this race. It goes up about $800 every year.
Wow.
So we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep the racer safe, spectators safe, and what about the track workers that are working on the track? If something fell off that go-kart and hit one of the track workers, and let's say it hit somebody in the head and they had to go to the hospital, and they said, well, what was it? Well, it was a helmet cam. Well, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they ain't going to cover it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're just trying to make sure that we do everything the best we can.
These dang insurance companies. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's such a smart idea. You pay into a pool for when you need it, but the fact is that insurance is way too profitable when they deny the payout, and so they look for any little reason to not do the payouts.
They find some loopholes that just amaze me sometimes.
Yep, they do.
Jody Krug. Oh, go ahead, Dirk.
I was going to say, Jody, what kind of entry fees are we going to have for this deal?
It's a $60 entry fee, which is very reasonable. If you look around go-karting racing, some of the ones that we were racing were $75 or $100. Our payout's really good for a $60 entry fee. Mm-hmm. I think the speed dashes is a $50 entry fee.
How about the pit passes and grandstands and all that stuff? What do you got?
It costs $20 for a pit pass. So if you guys want to come watch the races, it's $20 to walk around the pits. You can go up by the racetrack. It's $20 per day. But if you just want to be a spectator, it's $10 in the grandstands. And, a lot of people do that, but a lot of people like to mingle through the pits and see the kids and the families working on their go-karts. Yep. This is really a family sport.
If you do buy a pit pass, are you allowed to go to the grandstands?
Yes, you are.
You can go back and forth?
That's correct.
So you can get a full day's entertainment for $20.
A lot of people think it's kind of pricey, but to spend the whole day there, the building's heated, it's warm, they got food there. You can see, it's an incredible feeling to see the children growing up from year to year with their parents, racing. There's altercations, where the kid's not happy, this happened, that happened. But for the most part, everybody's there having a good time. They're safe. There's, no drugs. The kids are right there. You can watch them. And it helped raise my kids.
Well, if you get your kid into racing and let him spend all his money on a race car, he ain't got any money for drugs.
That's right.
About, if you can give me a rough estimate, how many races are you guys going to run from start on Friday to end on Saturday?
About 40.
Wow.
Heat races and features. That's Friday. So, Saturday another 40. So, 80 races, between heat races and features. Yeah. It's a busy event.
Do you have any 2-day passes or 3-day passes available?
We don't offer any 2 or 3-day passes because we like people to come in every day and sign up and get a band. Okay. Because the band means if something happens, you'll be covered by the insurance.
Jody Krug, you can head over to Nebraska Karting Shootout on Facebook. You can also head to NebraskaKartShootout.com. NebraskaKartShootout.com.
That's correct.
Right. All right. I got it right that time. Appreciate you coming in, bud. Have a good one.
Thanks for
Jody,
having me, guys.
One last thing. What time's everything get started each day?
Oh,
we start practice on Thursday, 4 to 7.
Okay.
And Friday morning we're going to be doing hot laps at 10:30, and then we're going to start the heat races at 12. And same with Saturday morning, hot laps at 10:30, heat races at 12.
Good.
Okay. All right, thanks a lot, buddy.
You guys, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate your support.
Well, I'm sorry it's taken so long to get you on the show. We'll do it a lot quicker next time.
All right.
We'll be back in turn number 3 for the Legends of the Dirt Series, the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series this weekend. Lonnie Jensen, make sure you stay tuned. He'll be joining us just around the corner on the front stretch.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Hey, this is Ryan Newman, driver of the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet, and you're listening to the front stretch.
Heading into turn number 3 here on the front stretch. Time for the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. We've been talking to some great drivers throughout the offseason so far. Larry Moore, Larry Eckrich, Bob Hill, and Dale Dow. Now it's time for Lonnie Jensen to step up and take front stage center as we talk about his career. How you doing tonight, Lonnie?
Pretty good. Real good. We're in California, and the temperature's about 75 degrees.
That's just not even fair.
Thanks a lot, Lonnie. Thanks a lot.
You're not starting this interview out very well, Lonnie.
Okay.
So talk about the beginning of your career. What got you started in dirt racing?
Well, I started racing motorcycles, and I believe it was about 1960, the flat track motorcycles, and just bought a race car and raced at Capitol Beach, and they eventually progressed into the sprint cars, and the rest is history, I guess.
But was it like a family thing that got you started?
No, not really. I just, I don't know, always kind of, I guess when I was a kid in North Platte, I used to go to the stock car races and always kind of enjoyed the races. And when I had a chance to get a motorcycle, I tried that. And in fact, we used to race at Sunset Speedway on a little bit on the flat tracks there.
Oh, really?
And then I just somehow decided to get into the car racing.
Where did you call home when you first got started?
In Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, been pretty much there all through my career. And I struggled a bit during the early 60s, and, I crashed a bit, but they say if you don't crash them, you're not standing on the gas. So,
if you're not crashing, you're not trying?
That's right. Yeah.
Something like that.
But most of my racing was with the non-wings, and, of course, we didn't really hit hard until early 70s, late 60s, and in the 70s when I started racing with Larry Swanson, and we won a lot of races, a lot of track championships.
Talk to me about those early days when you first got behind the wheel of a race car. Were you hooked immediately, or did it take time and repetition to kind of begin to realize, I got a knack for this, and I'm having quite a bit of fun?
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of, it was of course, it's a thrill, drive a race car, and back in those days, they weren't near what they are today. But I kind of took to it natural. I think I won the first B feature that I ever ran. That was at Beatrice. And, of course, I thought that was great, which it wasn't. There was only like 2-3 cars finished. But
we don't need to bring that part up. Don't worry about bringing that part up.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was pretty much hooked from then on. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Lonnie, what'd you start out in?
It's what they call the super modifieds. It was a Buick powered, had a little 32 Ford coupe body on it. And they tore up a lot of beautiful cars to make race cars back in those days. Mm-hmm. But then they went to what they called the hoodoos, which they chopped them down, and they were real race cars. So I remember a couple of guys come in from North Dakota, Capitol Beach. I only got to run like 2 years at Capitol Beach, and then we went to Midwest Speedway and Eagle all in the same year.
Why'd they call them hoodoos?
I never could figure that out. I don't know why they called them hoodoos.
They had 2 or 3 different names. Some places they call them sportsmen. Other places they called them hoodoos. They were really narrow, if I remember right, Lonnie. It was just wide enough for your body.
Yeah. They were tiny little cars with little bodies on them. They were kind of cute cars.
The only time
it didn't take them long.
Yeah.
It didn't take them long to progress to the sprint cars.
I was just curious because the only time I've ever heard the term hoodoo is in the Creedence Clearwater Revival song when they're talking about chasing down the hoodoo they. And I ended up looking it up, and I think it's like a version of like a voodoo witch doctor is what a hoodoo is. Yeah.
You're an Iowegian. Yeah. Old Iowa has hoodoo days every year.
Does it really?
Yep.
There's some things I don't associate myself with in that state. We're talking with Lonnie Jensen as a part of the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. So you never went winged, huh?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
You said you never went and raced winged?
Oh yeah, a lot of wing race, but that was a little later on in the 70s. Towards the mid 70s, they went with the wings, but all the early days were all non-wing.
It was all coupes and all sorts of just kind of. It was pretty stock cars, right? I mean, they just stripped everything out of them, threw a motor in it, and then kind of went racing?
No, not super.
No, that was earlier.
Okay.
Then he went to the supers, and then he went to the sprint cars.
Right. That's exactly right. It was they used to take little Model A frame rails and with the hoodoos, and they'd weld a roll cage on it, and then put that tiny little body on it, and they were race cars.
What was your favorite one to race of everything you've raced throughout your career?
Favorite type car, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Oh, I like the sprint cars. When they went with the full-blown sprint cars, that was a real race car to me.
And when you mean full-blown, you mean winged and everything, or was that the pre-wing?
No, before the wings came into play, they were they were a sprint. They were a what I would call a true race car, sprint car. They were what the state fairs used to run. The IMCA used to run it to all the state fairs, and back in the 50s and 60s, and that was a sprint car. They called them big cars also.
Lonnie, you started racing at Eagle in Midwest. You had some pretty tough competition just there on the local tracks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we used to get them coming in from all over the country. Errol Leaf used to come in from Wichita, and, of course, Dick Sutcliffe and Ray Lee Goodwin, Eddie Levitt. It was a tough deal.
How did those names get around back then? It's easy today for me to sit in the announcer's booth and say, well, that's a so-and-so because I see him on TV, I hear him on the radio, I see him on Facebook, he's in newspapers, he's in magazines. But how did it get around back then to where you could say, well, that's a tough guy to battle?
Well, they were the ones that would win, ones you had to beat to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think how it got around was either people going to the races. National Speed Sport News used to be a huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Eagle Raceway's results was in there, and Topeka and all those tracks.
I didn't know if you guys got messages through like the Pony Express or something like that.
No, it was.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
He's pulling your leg now.
Hey, Lonnie, did I mention he's from Iowa?
Yeah.
I got to liven things up once in a while. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So, what was your home track when you were racing around here? Was it Eagle, Sunset?
When I was racing, it was Midwest Speedway and Eagle Raceway. They both came in about the same time, and I'm guessing that was about 1963, 64.
What was Midwest like? Was it a kind of a short track like Eagle, or was it more of a...
It was a long straightaway and tight corners, but it's what they call a third mile. It was similar to Eagle, only Eagle was higher banked, and Midwest was not much banked, but it was a longer straightaway. Quite a bit different racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
And then we used to run over to Beatrice, too.
Okay.
Beatrice had a nice little racetrack also.
When you got started, how many times a week did you race?
Oh, usually when we first started, about 2 times. A lot of times it was on Friday night and Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon. There were sometimes it was 3 nights.
Yeah.
For 3, even during the day. Or some of them were running in the afternoon. I'm getting a pretty good echo again, but...
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's changed.
That's okay.
What we did here, but...
Well, we'll get through it.
So what was... it's really hard to develop as a driver when you're only out there racing once a week, right?
Yeah, you need time. To be a good racer, you need time in a race car, and there's no substitute for laps. So it is pretty hard. It's to try to run once a week or whatever. It's pretty tough to do. But back in those days, drivers made money and owners could make money. It's altogether different today. These young kids want to get started today. You better have a rich daddy.
What's your saying, Dirk? If you want to make $1 million in dirt racing, you better have $3 million.
No, you want to make
That's right.
Want to make a small fortune in racing? You start with a big one.
That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We talked to Larry Moore a couple of weeks ago, and I was really astonished by. He said that for a couple of years there, when he was still kind of getting used to driving, he used to race 3 different classes on the same night. Hot laps, heat races, B features if he had to, win the features. That's a lot of racing, but boy, you get a lot of experience doing that.
Oh yeah, that's actually good. That's better if you want to be a racer.
Did you ever get crazy like that and race 3 different features in one night?
Oh, I don't think so. I remember a couple of times they ran the midgets, and I had to run a midget race and the sprint cars too, and I can't even remember where that was. that was so many years ago that it's a bit foggy.
Lonnie, tell us about one of the tracks that I know you had very good success on, and it was very fast, and that's the Banks of Belleville, Kansas.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it was a fast racetrack. And, in fact, it was shaped almost like a circle. You didn't know whether you were on the front stretch or you were on the back stretch. It was that fast.
What made it about that track that you were so successful?
Oh, I don't know. I probably had pretty good stuff. When I was racing with Larry Swanson, he had the best there was. And, we won a lot of features on that racetrack, Old Belleville. And I don't know. I just kind of liked it.
I think that's putting it lightly. We're talking with Lonnie Jensen here as a part of the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. Let's take a quick break. We'll kind of get a little bit of water in us, clear our throats out, and we'll come back at turn number 4. We'll do it just for another 10 minutes or so as we continue to talk about the career of Lonnie Jensen for the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. We'll be back here on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Hi, this is Brad Keselowski, 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube at Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the front stretch. You can catch all of the football action all week long at the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube at Council Bluffs. There's the Brickyard, then there's Thunder Alley. And then if you want to just kind of enjoy a nice quiet lunch or dinner with the family, you can always go over into the other part of the areas, which is a little bit quieter. Nice cool stuff on the walls, great food, great menu options. Head over to Quaker Steak and Lube at Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the front stretch. We're continuing with our Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. Today we're talking with Lonnie Jensen, who was a big racer here throughout the Midwest. Lonnie, what was probably your scariest moment behind a wheel?
Oh, boy. I don't know. I'd have to say maybe the one when I went into the wall at Knoxville pretty hard. Wheel broke, and we drove one of the big planks clear through the car, split my helmet in half.
Holy cow.
But, you don't have time. You don't have time to be scared. You think about it after it's over.
How many times did you think about it? Like, you can't believe you're still alive or, not?
I think racers kind of have that ability to always believe it's going to be the other guy, And if you didn't, you wouldn't do it. I know we'd roll into Knoxville, and I'd look down the pit row. There'd be maybe 28 cars, and we would know before the year was over, 1 or 2 wouldn't be there. It was that bad back in the 70s.
And are you talking about just wrecking out the car, or are you talking about some pretty bad injury?
Fatality.
No, I'm talking about fatalities.
Man.
You could pick up National Speed Sport News almost every week, and a sprint car driver got fatally injured somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Didn't that ever deter you, though? I mean, didn't you ever want to sit back and say, I'm just not ready to go to meet my maker yet. Maybe I'll step down a class.
Yeah, you do, and you do think about that. But the money was good. I tell you, that was excellent back in those days, and I think what stopped me is that when I had a little girl, 1973, I kind of decided that, getting killed in a race car probably was not the best. So it kind of slowed my career down. We did start again in 81 with 360s, but by then racing had become a whole lot safer than it was back in those days. So
I've heard some conversations that the progression in the safety world, which was much needed, obviously, has made drivers a little bit more careless. Do you think that's the case?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Back in the earlier days, you didn't race like they do today. You couldn't. You know, I drove sprint cars when they didn't have a roll cage on them. They had a little bar in the back, and you rolled one of those, and obviously you didn't survive. And that's, you know, it's just and you do think about that.
So is that good for the sport, or do you think it's maybe hurting the sport?
Well, I think it's anytime you can make safety, and you know, I think it's better.
Well, I guess
sure,
I meant
you don't.
the more risky driving. Is that good for the sport since it's more safe?
I don't think so.
No,
I like, you know, racing was never meant to be a real safe sport. It's an extreme sport.
Yeah.
And I liked it when you could see the sprint cars like back in the old IMCA days with the old offies, and you know, that was thoroughbred racing. And nowadays, these big wings they put on them, and they're fast, extremely fast. But you have to kind of, I think you aim them more than you drive them. So it kind of distracted a bit, I think, from racing. People kind of like to see the drivers thrashing away on a steering wheel. You can't do that with a wing sprint car.
I think the non-wing sprint cars had a grace that the wing sprint cars just don't have.
No, that's true. That's right. But it's still racing, you know, and it's a great sport.
Do you get to make it out to many races nowadays?
Not too much. We're into a little different. I'm into bicycling now. It's just, you know, I'm 74, going on 75 years old, so you kind of back off a bit. I do like to go to the races, and we run out to Paris once in a while. They have non-wing shows out there, and when we're back in Lincoln, we spend in the summer, and a lot of times we'll go out to Eagle. I enjoy going out and watching them.
So you haven't talked to Red Farmer lately, is what you're telling me.
Right. No, not for a long time. My son was in it for quite a while, for about 10 years, but he got hurt real bad at McCool Junction, and that kind of hurt it for me, going to the races and watching him race. He came back a year later and was back at it again. It's hard to quit something when you get addicted to it.
Yeah, and that had to be hard as a father to watch your son out there racing.
Oh, man. Oh, boy, it was a tough deal, really.
Was it more stressful being the father in the stands than the driver in the seat?
Yeah, way more stressful.
That's funny how it is. I mean, as the driver, you're taking all the risk, but it's more stressful as the father that you're not in control of the thing.
That's the whole deal. You have no control.
Yep.
That's right. Exactly.
We're talking with Lonnie Jensen again for the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. Lonnie, what was one of your favorite wins of all time? It maybe wasn't necessarily a big paying win, but maybe it was beating a rival or just a dominant win.
Oh, you know, we had a lot of them. I'd have to say maybe one of them was the 1970 Third Mile Nationals that Jan Opperman thought he won, but he didn't. He was a lap down.
That was an interesting race. We could talk all night about that one.
Well, let's talk about that.
Opperman, I believe, Lonnie, correct me, but I think Ray Lee was slowing on the track and Opperman got into him or something and spun out and went a lap down before they read the yellow, and you guys had a big argument afterwards and you won.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened. I knew he was a lap down because they continued the race, and he was by far a better racer than anybody that was racing. He passed me on the last lap. We were leading it, but I knew then, and I can't remember whether we rolled up into the pits or whether I stopped on the straightaway, but when Jan and I walked up through the crowd, I thought it was there was going to be a riot because half of them thought he won, half of them thought I won. But it was an interesting night.
How many promoters or track owners did you have run-ins with?
He's a racer,
not
everyone.
Too many.
Yeah, you say for one of them. He says, "Oh, not too many."
Well, not too many. That's they do the best they can, and I know that old Pete Lycum loved him. He's a good man, but he once in a while he could get under. He could get you going too.
It seems like there's just a natural friction between drivers and promoters. You know, you as a driver, if you get to win it too much, then they're going to start stacking the rules against you.
Yeah, you always think the promoter's making a lot of money, and oftentimes that's not the case. So there is a friction. There is, the drivers want to make as much as they can, or the promoters they gotta make money too.
So when you get out to these races every once in a while, you come out to Eagle, or maybe you make it over to the Knoxville Nationals. Is there a driver you enjoy watching nowadays?
Oh, not really.
No.
I can't say that I have any favorite particularly right now.
What's one of your favorite racetracks that one of your all-time favorite racetracks you went to?
Well, I always liked Eagle.
Yeah.
And I liked Knoxville too. And I suppose Belleville was one of the best ones that we had the best luck at, but it scared me worse than any of them did.
All right, Lonnie Jensen. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
It was just a fast old racetrack, and although it didn't have that many fatalities, it was still a fun place to race.
Lonnie Jensen, we appreciate your time, sir. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great 2016.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Thanks,
Good
Lonnie.
talking to you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Oh, that thing at Eagle was something else.
That thing at Eagle.
That 70 race where Opperman went a lot.
Okay.
They argued at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Really? I can't imagine. We could argue at 3 in the morning, but we got to we got to wrap this show up and get ready for next weekend's show. Again, if you missed any part of today's show or any of the interviews to come that have already aired, you can always head over to the YouTube page. Just search Front Stretch and the driver you want to hear. Maybe it's Larry Moore, Larry Eckrich, Bob Hill, Dale McDowell, or Lonnie Jensen like we talked to today. You can listen to the whole show all over again. Make sure you join us in 2 weeks for Danny Lasowski. Then following that, Clayton Peterson and Jim Wilson, plus a couple of more we're still trying to lock down. All right, we're going to do it all again next weekend. Lee, always do appreciate you joining us.
Thank you much.
Have a good one. And Dirk, you doing all right?
We're surviving it.
All right. You're turning into a little bit of a pincushion, by the way.
Yeah, that's the life of a dialysis patient.
All right. We'll see if we can get you a little bit healed up for next week. Thanks again for joining us. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.